We are glad to have Katie McGuire here today. And Katie is based in Los Angeles. She specializes in portraits and figures influences by expressionists and tarot cards and all kinds of stuff. Anyway, let's welcome Katie and take it over.
Hello. So basically what I'm going to do is, I basically am doing a drawing lesson. I teach at the Huntington Beach Art Center. I teach drawing, and I kind of developed this lesson for beginners. I don't know what level you guys are, but I'm going to share my screen with you. Okay, so we're going to start with basic value. And basically what I'm doing right now is I'm drawing. Well, I'm going to do some definitions first, and then I'm going to draw. And you guys are welcome to draw along with me. You'll see my hands, but I'm going to show you some definitions first. So I'm just showing you the value scale. So this is a value scale. 1 second. I'll leave it at this. Okay. So categories of light. So basically, I'm going to start out with simple shapes with value, and we're going to look at the different categories of light. And then if we have time, we're going to move into portraits, which we'll do with value. The categories of light are highlight, light, shadow, core of shadow, reflected light, and cast shadow. Direct light is where light is hitting the object. It includes the highlight and the light. It refers to surfaces of an object that are not in the direct path of a light source and consequently is the brightest or lightest of the entire range of values on a form. Indirect light includes shadow, core of shadow, reflected light, and cast shadow. It refers to objects that are not in the direct path of a light source. These surfaces are revealed and become visible only through bounced or reflected light rays and are never as bright or as light as the directly lit surfaces of a form. And then here I have a picture. So here's the light source and here's the highlight. So the light is hitting the sphere right here. And this is using all the values in the value scale, blending them together with pencil. And right here it gets a little bit darker. So mid-tone, shadow, the core of shadow is pretty dark. And usually at the edge of the object that you're drawing, you see a little piece of reflected light, which is light that's reflected from the atmosphere. And then you see the cast shadow, which is usually really dark, especially right under the object. And then there's different types. You can do drawings in different types of value combinations. Using all of the values on the value scale is called chiaroscuro, and that's what people usually use. But you can also use low-key value, which is, let me come back up here for a second, which is just kind of using the dark half of the value scale. And it will give you your drawing a certain type of mood. This is a photograph, but it's in low-key value, so it's pretty dark. Predominantly dark values often used to create an effect of gloom, mystery, drama, menace, heaviness. A drawing done in low-key value uses variations of value to describe volume and space, but the variations fall within the range of darker values. And then this is kind of, it's high, but I had trouble finding a picture that was in middle. So middle key value is in the middle of the value scale. Like maybe here, you're just using these values. And high key value, this flower is a photograph as well, but it's in high key value. You can barely see it. It's the light half of the value scale. So it's predominantly light values, sometimes used to create an effect opposite of low key value, and blended together evenly. And then the other value pattern or value combination is tenebrism. So tenebrism is skipping the middle. So you're using some of the darks, you're using like a few of the darks and a few of the lights, and you're skipping the middle. So it seems dramatic. It's like chiaroscuro, also originating in the Renaissance and rooted in the Italian meaning dark and gloomy. Tenebrism is an exaggeration or emphasis of the effects, or chiaroscuro, producing strong contrast between light and shadow and creating a dark, dramatic, or theatrical mood. Frequently, the main subjects of tenebrism are illuminated by a single source of light, somewhat like a spotlight, creating areas of strong darkness and deep shadows in contrast to the light. Okay, so this is, so basically, hopefully you guys can draw along with me right now. And I'm going to start with basic shapes. And I'm going to do them in the different value combinations. So I'm just going to, the first shapes that I'm going to use, this is why let me try to focus. I try to put the pictures on because we'll use these for reference. So we're going to start with these 4. And you can draw. So I just traced a circle because I don't want my circle to be lopsided. And the first thing that I'm going to do is chiaroscuro, which is everything on the value scale. And then I'm putting in just a shape for the cast shadow. And I'm just using I'm using a drawing pencil. If you have drawing pencils, you can use those, or you can use a regular pencil. The number that I'm using is 4B. And then I'm making a line right here. You can also, if you didn't print the pictures out, you can pull them up on your cell phone if you have one. I'll put this right next to it. Hold on, so you can see. Let me put it right here, so that way you can see what I'm looking at. Okay, so I'm trying to go from dark to light, and I'm trying to blend, and I'm just starting with a pencil. So the bottom part is kind of pretty dark. So I'm just kind of putting in a medium to dark gray down here. The difference between the circle like this and the sphere is that this has value, and this is, so if there's no value, it seems flat. And when you add value, it seems 3-dimensional. Okay, so on the top, I'm going to go a little bit lighter. I'm not pressing this hard. And I'm just trying to get some basic values in. I'm making a little circle kind of where it's white. And that's just the start of it, because that doesn't really look like this. So now I'm going to try to go, I don't want this to look like a line. Like right here, it looks like it's kind of like a dark is kind of fading into the lighter value. And I'm going to get a pencil. This is a 6B. This is a little bit darker. And I'm going to make the edge a little bit darker. Then I'm going back to my 4B, and I'm going to go along the edges. You can also use an eraser if it gets too dark. And then I'm getting my darker pencil for the cast shadow. And the whole bottom part kind of blends into the cast shadow, except there's a little bit of a lighter part right here. And this is like a black kind of, this is a black, it could be a black colored pencil if you have one, and I'm just adding some really dark areas. So I'm going to work in charcoal now, and the next combination that I'm going to do is high key value, and I'm gonna cover this up, or I'll put it down here. Well, yeah, I'm gonna cover it up so you can see what I'm looking at. So I'm gonna use the cube. It's in 2-point perspective. So I'm just, these two lines are slightly, this should be straight. And then these two lines this one is slightly, they're both diagonal, but they're slightly different. This one is slightly more up, and this one is slightly more down. I'm just trying to get the shapes in. And since I'm using high key value, it's going to be lighter than this. So I'm just getting some chalk out, some grays and some whites, and a black and white charcoal pencil. And this is the darkest side. So I'm not making it as dark because I'm using high key value, which is the light side of the value scale. And you can rub with your fingers, a Q-tip, a blender, and actually my new favorite thing is I'll show you, give me 1 second, is a paintbrush that's dry. And then it needs a little bit more definition. So I'm just going to kind of outline the edges. And Here I'm using a blender because it's a very I don't want to put my finger on that because it's right near the edge. All right, so that's pretty much high key value. It's just on the lighter side of the value scale. And then the next shape, if you want me to stop at any point, just let me know. I'm gonna do low key value, which is the dark. So this is an oval. This is for, I'm doing the cylinder. This is an oval that is symmetrical. So if you fold it in half right here, it should be the same on the top and the bottom. And the curve right here is the same as the curve right here. And then here's the cast shadow. I'm going to start this in gray. Okay, so now I'm going to go in with some black. And I'm making the top a little darker than it is in the picture because this is low key value. All right, so now I'm going to get a black charcoal pencil. A little dark right here. And I'm going to use a white charcoal pencil over here. The last one I'm going to do is the cone. And this one is going to be high contrast or tenebrism. So it's going to eliminate the middle. Let me put it up here so you can see it. It's a triangle with a curved bottom. So like right here, I'm drawing a line right here. This side is dark and this side is light. So I'm going to try to do a really dark side and a really light side and eliminate the middle. I'm going to darken this. Over here, I'm going to go really light. The cast shadow very dark. And I'm using a charcoal pencil kind of to define the edge. So something like that, where it's not really having the middle, it's kind of having just dark and light, darker values and lighter values, and that's high contrast.
That was great.